Welcome back to PaintersBlock. I'm your host, Anthony Ryden. I'm sorry for the delay and for the hibernation, but we are back and I have a whole lineup and new equipment for you. Today we will be going over the black marble. It's going to use an airbrush, and it's going to be a very basic tutorial, basically a 3-step process. We're going to add in a 4th because we did come across some problems. So first we're going to grab our model. Now here I'm grabbing some nice terrain features, and I used just a plain gray just so I could have a matte finish on whatever type of color that I wanted. So I just want plain gold, white, black, and I don't want any other hues in there because I don't want to mess up what the marble finish is going to be. So moving on to what our tools are going to be, is going to be our airbrush right here. And I just have this, guys. It was about $60 when I bought it. I think it's cheaper now. It's a fairly cheap and very easy to use airbrush. It's gravity pulls, so you have to make sure it stays upright. And here is my gold. It's kind of the equivalent of greedy gold from Army Painter. It comes with the airbrush set, and then this is a white. I would recommend titanium white over this white, and make sure it's the right consistency to be in an airbrush, so a little bit more fluid in there. And Abaddon black would be the type of black I would use. This is also a black that came with my airbrush, and I'm just trying to use out these free colors that I got with my set, and I just wanted to try it out before you guys try to use it. And here's an acrylic medium. I would suggest using this for just thinning out your paint and make sure it can spray through. It's also good just instead of water, it mixes better. When you're trying to mix your paint and make it a little bit thinner, then it only takes like 1 or 2 drops. And here we're going to use a dryer sheet. When we're spraying onto the model, we're going to use this to create the veins and the spider webbing. Not like the airbrush spider webbing, but the threads basically are going to give us the texture we need to create the marbling effect with our blacks, whites, and golds. Once we've got our airbrush set up, the compressor in there, we're going to get our gold, and we're going to start with this. We're going to spray this pretty much everywhere evenly as we can. And just make sure when you're using your airbrush, make sure it's nice and clean, the compressor isn't leaking, that everything's shooting out right. You can put your tip of your finger on the tip of the airbrush and then shoot the air to mix your paint. And here I'm going to do a little test to see if the paint is shooting out, which it is unfortunately not really shooting out too well. And this is the problem I talked about earlier. We're going to have a little bit of a bad day with this. It took a little longer because I had to figure out what was wrong. So here I grabbed my paint thinner, or the, not thinner, but the acrylic medium. Now don't confuse this with the thinning medium. This is just a medium to help with flow, so this is more for airbrushes. It looks like it's working a little bit better, but it's still giving me a little bit of pushback, and it's not really laying down evenly. So, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to work out too well. I'm going to try shooting out a little bit longer. Maybe there's a little bit of a clog that just needs to come out, but once that doesn't work, it's only really going to be one other thing to do. You can mix it up a bit more, see if it needs to be thinned out more, but if it's thin and it's not coming out, you probably got to clean it. So you're going to take apart your airbrush. Make sure you remember how every little part goes together, and there's going to be a little bit inside of the tip where the needle goes. Be very careful, don't lose that. I would recommend don't wash this in the sink, put it in a bowl, put some alcohol, and don't leave it too long. Only leave it for about an hour or two, maybe not even 2 hours, like an hour, and then take it out and clean it. And unfortunately, it wasn't even that. It was that gold. That gold just didn't want to shoot out of my airbrush for some odd reason. I don't know what was going on with it. So what I did was, after I cleaned it, I grabbed this Retributor armor from Citadel, and I mixed it with a little bit of the acrylic medium, about 2 to 3 drops. Don't confuse it. Now I'm going to show you right here that this is the acrylic thinning medium, and it looks a lot different. I don't know what you guys thinking this looks like. It thins it, so you don't want that inside of your airbrush. You want something for flow. So here we can already see it is working way better. I'm getting that even coverage. I'm starting to cover the mistakes that were there from earlier. Now it is running a little too runny, so I'd probably only put 2 drops in next time. But here we're finally getting to the goal, which is here. and this is much better, much more even. Be careful while you're touching around because you're going to get wet paint on you. But here we go, we're finally there after cleaning out our airbrush and having these mistakes, and hey, you know what, I'm glad I went through it instead of you, and now you can see how to deal with these problems when they come across. So the next step we're going to do is grab titanium white, or whatever white you have, and we're just going to make sure it flows out evenly, flows out well before we throw it on top of this nice even gold, because it was okay with the first step. We messed up, we can cover it over. It's going to be marble, it's not going to be noticeable. This next step, if we mess up and we spray and it starts like spider veining and not spreading evenly, it's going to cause some issues. So we need to make sure before you start spraying, it sprays out evenly. Use something else like that paper towel I have with other color, or something maybe black so you can see the white easier. So here we're using the dryer sheet and we're just putting it over the surface as tight as we can. We want it to be as tight as possible. Once we do that, we're going to spray our white until it sufficiently covers how much we want. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're looking for imperfections within the marble. So we want to see some gold, we want to see some white, we want to see some in-betweens. And we don't want it to be too even everywhere. We want it to be uneven everywhere. So just be careful. And now you see I don't have my lid on. I don't really tend to work with the lid. Now if you are new to the airbrush, I'd recommend using the lid. And if you like what you've been seeing, please leave a like. It really helps me out. And subscribe. It really helps motivate me, helps the channel keep moving. And also maybe hit that notification bell. It's been a little harder to be up to date and more on top of being on time. So I'm trying to push these out once a week, but it might come a little unevenly, not every Monday, Wednesday, Friday like I used to. Unfortunately, life's been a little bit crazy. So here you see that I'm still trying to apply the dryer sheet as tight to the model as I can while still spraying and keeping some of the gold. And try not to use the same parts of the dryer sheet. I noticed as I was going that it's still better. You tend to cover the holes the first time you spray. So the second time you spray, you don't want to use a part that you've already sprayed on. You want to use a new part of the dryer sheet and then move on and keep on doing that. So you want a whole box of these dryer sheets just to keep yourself with a clean look. And once you've completed that, we're going to move on to a new dryer sheet. And we're going to use our black. Now, Abaddon black is kind of my favorite. It's really sleek black, and it's just as close to pitch black as I can really get with normal paint. There's some other special paints that absorb like a lot of light, but I'm a little afraid to use that when I'm trying to catch like the gold and the white in there as well. So here we're going to use the dryer sheet. Same exact rules apply. You're going to apply this very hard, very close to the model. Tight, and you're going to get as much of this black as you can without covering everything. Remember, we still want to see the white, we still want to see the gold. It's going to create cool veins within our black marble. So here we go. Yeah, that's looking really nice right there. There we go. Yeah, you're just going to do that everywhere, and once you have, it's going to look a little bit something like this. And once you've tuned everything down, you've graded all your gold, it's going to look a little bit like this. Real nice. Now, here's the secret sauce I'm about to show you. Now, in the beginning of the video, I showed you everything you needed, but this is the secret. Now, if you've been waiting this whole time in the video watching, this is the specialty gift for you. My true viewers, thank you for being here. This is the special secret sauce, Brilliant Shine Gloss. This is going to give you the layer and the extra sheen and just that glossy effect that marble has. And if you don't use this, it'll look nice. If you use this, the marble will look amazing. So thank you for tuning in and sticking through with me, and I'm happy to give you guys a little bit of a special gift for really tuning in. And thanks again for waiting all this time. I know I've been gone for a while, but I just am happy to be back and bring you some better material. I've been spending this time really trying to upgrade my skill set so I can bring you some better material. Also, I did get a new phone, some new editing equipment, some new camera equipment, so I'm hoping all this is making some better quality videos. And I'm trying to just advance my skill set so that you guys can have a better viewing and just to have a better time on my channel. And thank you again for being here. I know it's been a while. Once we have the black marble all laid out with the gloss, and you just kind of want to spread it out evenly, it's going to look great. It's going to be ready for this type of photo shoot. And please like and subscribe. I know I said it once before, but it really helps my channel. And we're going to come back. We're going to try to have white marble next week, or at least sometime next week. And I'm going to show you on one of my Titans. Thank you for coming, and I hope we helped you break that painter's block.